Many people believe the saying, an eye for an eye, leave the world blind. But do you actually realize that just because someone may have killed your loved one, the best solution for that action is to making the doer to also die? This shows a perfect revenge for the victim family. People don't actually realize that they are putting the blood of another person's life on their hands. This makes them just as guilty as the person who committed the crime. The only difference is that they didn't use a weapon except their mouth to kill them. Hi, Assalamualaikum, and a very good morning to everyone. My name is Muhammad Shukairi, and this is my persuasive speech. For your information, not all sorts of crimes are punishable by the death penalty. In Malaysia specifically, the crimes that are punishable by the mandatory death penalty are murder, drug trafficking, treason, waging war against Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and terrorism. On the other hand, death penalty is also known as one of the capital punishment, and it does not solve anything, nor does it fix the problem. We, as humans, should not dictate who live this world, being that the gift of life is more sacred than one week trial. Instead of somebody coming back to life, now you have two dead people. In addition, I have done some research on this issue. In understanding this case, we need to justify that by abolishing the death penalty, it portrays a greater good than its restitution. Sources from Amnesty International report, a human rights activist group data stated that around 469 executions were carried out in Malaysia since 1957, and 906 people are currently on death row in Malaysia, and around 68% of individuals on death rows are convicted of drug trafficking cases, and 95% of all women on death row were convicted of drug-related offense. So here are a few reasons that can influence your opinion on why the death penalty should be abolished in Malaysia. The first reason is the execution is an expensive expense. It is irreversible and it does not deter any crime. And also to provide the alternative solution that has been taken by government side in achieving this movement. And as of today, I would like to persuade everyone and open up your mind to clear things up regarding the importance of abolishment of death penalty in Malaysia. The first reason on why death penalty should be abolished are due to the cost of execution is an expensive expense. The death penalty is more expensive than life imprisonment. Some believe that it is much cheaper to execute a death row inmate than to give them life imprisonment. Several studies and researchers have proven them wrong. Why? Because the procedures are longer. It requires more experts and additional hearings, which are not cost beneficial to the taxpayers. Death penalty trials also can last more than 4 times longer than non-capital trials. It also requiring juror and attorney compensation in addition to court personnel and other related costs. Most death row inmates involving solitary confinement in a special facility. This require more security and other accommodation as the prisoners are kept for 23 hours a day in their cells. To minimize mistakes, every prisoner is entitled to a series of appeals. The costs are borne at taxpayers' expense. Other than that, death penalty are a irreversible process and mistakes happen during the process will be the next reason why it should be abolished. Execution is the ultimate irrevocable punishment. The risk of executing an innocent person can never be eliminated. Since 1973, for example, more than 191 prisoners were sent to death row in the United States of America alone. It has later been released from death row on the grounds of innocence, according to Amnesty International 2022. Others have been executed despite being serious doubt of their guilt. And did you know that our country has also been struck by shocking incident in 2005? In 2005, at the age of 20 years old, Hu Yuwa was arrested for possession of 200 grams of methamphetamine. He was later taken to a police station where the police broke his finger, threatened to beat his girlfriend and was made to make a statement without a lawyer present. He was contested this statement in court, noting the inaccuracies and threats, but the judge dismissed this claim without ordering any further investigation. He was then automatically presumed to be guilty of drug trafficking and was given the mandatory sentence of death. He has now been on death row at Bentong Prison since 2011. Who You Wah case illustrates the many violations of international human rights law and standards associated with the use of the death penalty in Malaysia. These include lack of adequate and timely legal assistance, ill treatment during police interrogation, information obtained without a lawyer present that does not meet the minimum threshold of the most serious crime to which the death penalty must be restricted under international law. The last reason why death penalty should be abolished are it does not deter any crime rates. Even though some people argue that the death penalty is a relief to the victim family who was murdered by the convicted criminal, believe me, it is not true. Their pain cannot be healed through retribution or vengeance by the death penalty itself. Therefore, killing a criminal cannot overcome a crime nor bring back the life of the person who was killed by the person convicted of murder. The death penalty also sends a bad message to society. The people in society are made to believe that human life has no value and one commits a heinous crime like murder, they deserve to die. This is a very bad message to society because the society should be taught to respect each other's life and that every individual has the right to live. A human society does not kill or support the killing of their fellow human beings. Therefore, capital punishment is a violent homicide that teaches the society the permissibility of killing to solve social issues, and this is a very bad sign. Hence, death penalty should not be allowed because it is the worst example to society. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you worry and rest assured, as the mandatory death penalty can still be performed, and this is only depend on the jurisdiction of the juror in charge of the case. So, if death penalty should be abolished, so what is the most efficient punishment that should be implemented to impose death penalty? Some other proposed alternative punishment for the death penalty are introduction to whipping, increasing the time of lifetime imprisonment from 30 years to 40 years. In conclusion, the mandatory death penalty in Malaysia should be abolished. Why? Because other more efficient punishment has been implemented to impose the death penalty. Our nation will be at peace if all respective parties like police and judiciary are more responsible for ensuring no mistakes happen during any prosecution or execution process. To achieve this target, we should raise our awareness about the abolishment of the death penalty in Malaysia and its benefit. So, do you agree and stand together with the government stances on abolishing the mandatory death penalty in Malaysia? Share your thoughts and comment. And that is all from me. Thank you.